In the midst of social distancing and business lockdowns, a freelance writer and a graphic artist bought a bus, converted it into a tiny home on wheels, and moved out of our 4-bedroom house. 1 year later, we downsized to a Chevy Express. Now we travel between Texas and Pennsylvania from April through November while exploring small towns with rich histories. In the winter, we hunker down in Texas in our schoolie and dream of our next big trip.
We're Alan and Teresa.
And we're rolling with our gnomies.
Okay, so the first stop here in Taneytown is the City Hall and Volunteer Fire Department. And it looks like this building was built in 1902. It's an eclectic mix of informal and formal design. The first floor served as the city's first firehouse. The second floor contained the city's meeting rooms and offices. The central double doors allowed the two-wheel wagons and later the fire truck to exit the building as firemen raced to the fire. A large three-part window in the center bay of the second floor is the location of the council meeting room. In 1972, Taneytown acquired the building on the west, formerly Burke's Barber Shop, to use as office space. The advertisement on the exterior wall features Ziles ice cream, which was served at the Central Hotel in the early 1900s.
That's
on the other side.
It's on the west side. I saw it when we came in.
So this is the building they have for office space.
Right. But the ads on the side are awesome.
So that is the ad. It says Ziles ice cream, and that's a pretty cool ad.
Yeah. It really is, and it's well maintained by the city, which is
it really
awesome.
Is. It says on there, originally circa 1927, and retouched or something in 2001. So we are fortunate to have a walking map here in Taneytown, and that's a really good thing. This brick structure here was originally built as a commercial building with adjoining residential area on the second floor. It was built around 1875. By 1900, the unit on the left was Buffington's Hotel, and the Buffington family lived there. On the right, John Bauer operated a hardware store and lived with his family above the store. The family entered their home on the left side of the building. The twin buildings are local examples of vernacular Gothic revival.
It's a gorgeous building, and you truly cannot tell that it's two separate buildings from the outside.
Yeah, it looks like all one big building. They did a remarkable job.
Yeah. These small towns along major highways. Well, it's a state highway. The State Highway 140 East. But the traffic doesn't stop on these little side highways. Okay, so 101? 103. 103. Okay, so it's a blonde building.
Yeah.
Again, you can't tell that it's two separate addresses.
Yeah, and this is really nice. I love the architecture here. This is the Bennie Trust County building, built in 1899. using a design by John Augustus Dempwolf architecture firm from York, Pennsylvania. The left side of the building was Bernie's residence, and the right side was the bank. The bank's more formal classic style, with the fluted ionic columns, third-story arched dormer window, and corner blocks called coins, contrast with the two-story bay tower and balcony of the house. Yeah, they do very nicely, actually. It was remodeled twice and included replacing the original residential entrance with a window in the 1960s to accommodate the new lobby. That's nice. I love it.
Okay.
Next is 109.
So, right next door. Please tell me this building was at one time a firehouse?
Nope.
Okay.
Here at 109 on East Baltimore Street is the Opera House, built around sometime in the 1890s, using the Queen Anne Revival style. It's noted for its tall, hipped roof capped by an ornamental Dutch parapet in front of the gable dormer.
Yep.
There you can see that very nicely, very prominent. A large hall and stage on the second floor were used for entertainment, lodge meetings, and parties. The original windows in the second floor were double-hung sash windows that had 16 panes in the top sashes and 2 panes in the bottom sashes. Only the windows in the third floor retained their original panes. In the late 19th century, the building was the home of the local newspaper, the Carroll Record, and a plumbery.
And a plumbery?
Yeah.
Okay. What on earth is a plumbery?
That's a good question. Let's Google plumber. That's what it is, a plumber.
Google is not happening.
I spelled that correctly, didn't I? P-L-U-M-B-E-R-Y.
Yeah.
Google does not know what a plumbery is.
I will find out what a plumbery is and...
It's a workshop for plumbing or lead work.
Okay. Okay then.
It's a medieval word. So this is the Taneytown Savings Bank building, built in 1889. That's what the brochure says. The top of the building says 1887.
Somebody's mixed up.
Yeah, somebody got confused. An early example of the arts and crafts movement, a style characterized by its aesthetic design. The structure retains its original decorative detailing on the second-story windows, cornice, and roof. The red brick and gray limestone block arches above the windows are the most distinctive part of the building. Yeah, they're pretty nice.
They are gorgeous.
The cross gable roof and the cast iron rail, as well as the tin cornice, add to the exuberance of this late 19th century bank building.
Okay then.
Beautiful. This corner building here at East Baltimore and Frederick Street in Taneytown is the Hotel Hessen's department store. It's an old stone hotel and Hessen's department store. It's also the oldest building in Taneytown.
Okay, so they're referring to the stone building that's right there.
Yeah,
it's
perhaps. Yeah, they are.
And the department store that's next to it.
Okay, so it's not the corner building. You're right. It's the red roof building there.
I think it is.
It's the red roof building. Old Stone Hotel, Hessen's department store, at 1763 and 1921, Frederick Street. Okay, no, one was built in 1763, one was built in 1921.
It's 3 and 5, so it's both of them. Both the department store on the corner
So the
and the stone building next to it.
All right, so we can decipher this. So the big corner building is the department store, and the one next to it is the Old Stone Hotel. All right.
Right.
All right. So
I don't know why they put them together.
the Old Stone Hotel is the oldest building in Taneytown. The large north portion of the building was demolished in 1921 to make way for the second Essen's department store.
Ah, that's why they grouped them together.
Yeah. The mercantile building here at the corner still retains its original plate glass show windows. By the early 20th century, Taneytown had several department stores, reflecting the popularity of mass-produced clothing, toys, and houseware.
Okay. So, all right. So that explains it. Here
Is the Ecken Road building. Built in 1885, the building says 1881.
hold on. There's the trash truck.
In 1876, Tobias Ecken Road demolished the brick-encased log tavern and store and erected the present building, using the bricks from his brickyard by the railroad. The three-story building is an example of Gothic revival style and reflects the prosperity of the owner and the era. Like other Taneytown buildings from the late 19th century, the Ecken Road building has bricks set in a decorative sawtooth pattern.
They do.
They really do. They're beautiful too.
Right below those windows.
And the limestone window arches and other decorative elements help emphasize the height of the building, which remains one of the tallest in Taneytown. That's gorgeous.
It is a beautiful building. Okay.
This is the Baumgartner House, built in the mid-19th century. Construction began in 1842 and was completed in 1872. Like other Victorian-era houses in Taneytown, it shows the Greek Revival style with local bricks set in Flemish bond, a stone base, and jack arches above the first and second story windows. Those are gorgeous. The broken pediment of the center dormer and the hip roof may be related to the 1872 improvements or may date to the end of the 19th century. A bakehouse and wash house are attached at the rear of the house on the left. You can't see from this angle. Like the Raindollar Carriage House, the one at the rear of this property was also designed by architect John August Dimples.
Okay. Let's see if we can see what we see there. Oh, there it is. No.
No, that's this property. I think.
Yeah.
Ah, you can see it back there. They're right next to it. It's stone.
Well, I don't think that's the Carriage House. That's attached to the house. It's not the Carriage House. No.
All right, so the Presbyterian Church was built in 1883. It was the first church style designed by John August Dimples in Taneytown. Its Gothic Revival design includes a side gable entrance and a tall pointed spire. The interior retains original woodwork and pews between two side aisles that face the center pulpit. And next door is the manse. Built around 1890, the church was built in 1883. The house was built as a parsonage for the minister. It's well preserved in most of its fine stick-style details, such as the exposed gable trusses and chamfered porch supports with decorative scrollwork. They make an excellent example of late 19th century architectural style. Yeah, that's a pretty house.
It is pretty.
So this house, called the Mckinney House, was built originally in the late 18th century as a 3-bay log structure with a side entrance. From 1790 to 1880. And I guess the construction began in 1790. The two bays on the south end were added in the early 19th century. Andrew Mckinney purchased the property in 1859 and a few years later opened the Eagleton Institute, a private high school located in the L-shaped back wing of the house. The school closed in 1889.
If you walk up by the fire hydrant, we'll be able to see the L of this house. I saw it coming up to it. The south side of the house is only one room deep, and then the L shape comes back through the alley or the driveway.
All right, so we are looking at the Edward Raindollar house built in 1896. Mr. Raindollar was a merchant who owned the Raindollar Company. He had this residence built by Daniel Fair, a local builder. The house features large double-hung windows on the first floor and oriel windows in the second story. This form of bay window does not touch the ground. However, someone standing in the bay would have a panoramic view of the street because the windows project over the sidewalk. The second story includes a terracotta plaque that features acanthus leaves, and the architect also designed the Carriage House at the rear of the property, which you saw just
when
a few
we just started
ago.
talking about it, but it has gorgeous stained glass windows on the side.
Yeah, get those windows up there.
And these are the bay windows that you would, and they're on both sides, and this massive front door. And then it actually has side porches that were built into the design, and another beautiful bay window on the side. And you can see the windows on the second floor. And I don't normally videotape a house this close to it, but I wanted to be able to get the Carriage House. And you can see, if you look at the detail on the building itself, you can see that while this is a ramp now, it was not always. This used to be a porch. It did not wrap, it was just a side porch. But the architecture is absolutely gorgeous. That Carriage House is absolutely gorgeous. So, the building is there. Yeah? Yes. YouTube? Building says Model Steam Bakery. It was built in 1936, it looks like. And that gentleman did a New Market request and wanted to know what we were filming videos for. Oh, this is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Got to be a good story. This is Trinity Lutheran Church, built in 1897. The first church on the lot was dedicated in 1813. It was remodeled in 1841, 1871, and 1897. Although the church was heavily modified through the 19th century, the original 1813 walls still survive in the rear of the building. The church is Romanesque, with basket handle hood molding above the windows in the front facade. Reportedly, the Union Army sent signals with flags by day and flares by night. From the 1841 Belfry before the Battle of Gettysburg in June 1863. So you can see the Belfry up there. The original church, looking at the map, was a solid white structure. This brick must have been the latest design in 1897. This doesn't say, but that makes sense.
Well, let's walk
Then across the street
Right.
at 29.
Hold on 1 second. Let's get the rest
get the
of
front
this
the building?
church. Absolutely. These stained glass windows. Trinity Lutheran Church. And those doors. Oh my goodness. See.
And the parsonage is across the street.
Okay, so the parsonage
Right
is right there.
Yep. Greek Revival style house built in 1851 with the main facade of Flemish bond brick. It exhibits a gable roof and a central entrance. It was built by Reverend Solomon Sentman, pastor of the Trinity Lutheran Church. At the end of his ministry, he sold the house to the congregation for use by the church's pastors, the same use to which it is put today. The house retains much of its original appearance, including the decorative crowns above the windows, the dentil moldings in the cornice, and the rectangular transom light in the door surround. The portico is not original, and the scar from the earlier porch can be seen at the edges of the house.
Yeah, you can see it in the brick along the edge on both sides.
Yeah,
The porch would have come out to the edges of the house.
Nice. Grace United Church of Christ, built in 1890. The German Reformed congregation acquired the land in 1764. An early church known as the Old Yellow Church, built of logs with clapboard siding, sat near the front of the present cemetery, which is way in the back.
Right.
It was a union church, one in which different Protestant congregations shared the building and each supplied a minister for services. The Lutherans continued to worship with the Reformed Germans until Trinity Church was completed in 1813. The present structure is a Romanesque revival-style building. I love those limestones.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous.
The spire is beautiful.
It's actually not limestone.
Was that metal?
That's wood that's painted,
Oh.
and that's copper roofing. The copper roofing on the spire will turn green after so long.
Ah.
Okay?
Gotcha.
This is new, and it was put up green.
Yeah, that's a new addition. That's metal.
But the green on the spire is more than likely oxidation on the copper.
Gotcha. Yeah.
In Harrisburg, for a long time, the lady on the dome on the top of the state capitol was green. We all thought it was supposed to be. Then they came in and cleaned it good, and it's actually gold. It's a metal oxidation.
So there are 3 more. 10.
You can clearly see the basket weave on that belfry.
Yeah.
They actually use different colored bricks, it looks like. But it's a gorgeous church. And this is the Lutheran Church. Those windows on the front. You get a good view of them. Just a minute. because these trees are blocking the light. Although they're gorgeous.
Goodness gravy, move those trees.
There's a big old placard out in front of it.
There's a big old historical marker.
Or a hysterical marker, or whatever it is you call them. They got pretty trees, but they sure block that building.
Blocking your view.
They are blocking my view.
Everyone's
welcome, it says. Settlers, like German Protestants, along with the French and English-speaking Roman Catholics, brought their unique cultures and their different denominations to Taneytown. My bad. By 1750s, the German Reformed Church had organized its congregation on Emmitsburg Road and shared a Union Church building, first with German-speaking Lutherans and later with English-speaking Presbyterians. In the late 19th century, the prosperity sparked by the new railroad construction enabled all of the congregations to improve their buildings. St. Joseph's was rebuilt. And we're going to go take a look at St. Joseph's. As soon as we can get past this neat little park. I don't know, it's a memorial walk or whatever it is. But you can see the stained glass windows. And if I pan up, you can see the bell tower. We'll go over here by the cemetery so you can get a good view of it. It was established in 1876.
1872.
Well, the church was established in 72, but that cornerstone says 76.
Oh, it does.
I don't think for 1 minute that the stonemason got that wrong.
Roman Catholic Church has been on this site since 97.
We won't come down this way.
Raphael Taney set aside 2 church lots in his 1754 town plan. The lots were taken by Protestant denominations. It was illegal to be a Roman Catholic or have a large church building in Maryland prior to 1790. The current building dates to 1872 and is an example of vernacular Gothic revival designed by Joseph Wolfe, a local builder from Union Bridge.
Wow.
You couldn't have a large church building in Maryland before 1790?
Not if you were a Catholic.
Doesn't say that. It just says it was illegal to be Roman Catholic or to have a large church building.
Right. The Roman Catholics could not have large church buildings because a lot of that carried over from England.
Right.
You know, remember we were English citizens at that point.
At that point,
Up until...
Well, at that point, no, we'd already had the Constitution.
For a couple of years, but not all the laws had been updated at that point.
We were pretty much British.
Yeah, we were still very much independent British, but the... Alright.
So that's the Carriage House to the Baumgartner House on York Street, built in the mid-19th century.
Absolutely gorgeous. I like Carriage House.
You like to live in a carriage house?
Yeah. And there's the Carriage House for the next house up. And we looked at it as well. But you can see the outbuildings that were behind the Baumgartner House as well.
Alright, if I don't do this right, then I'm going to be on the bad side of my wife. So y'all bear with me and pray for me. But while you're doing that, don't forget, share us with your friends, like us if you like us if you don't, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out. God bless.